Hello, knockouts. Tanya TKO here. And I am a self love specialist from TanyaTKO.com. I help you learn how to love yourselves and one another. On this channel, we use viral video topics as teachable moments for what self loving or self abusing looks like
All
in
right.
relationships. So
Hey there,
today
how you
we
doing
are
today?
going.
Welcome to the
Oh,
stream.
wait.
In
Oh, the
today's
stream is
stream,
starting.
I
The
will be
stream is
doing
starting.
a live
Let's
analysis
get into it.
of Derrick Jaxn's recent apology for cheating on his wife. I'm going into the stream with very little information. I wanted to be able to do so to be able to remain as unbiased as possible in regards to this subject. I was able to watch a few of Derrick's videos in order to understand what his nonverbal baseline is, and I will be relying on that.
Uh-oh. What's going on?
Apology for cheating on his wife. I'm going into the stream with very little information. I wanted to be able to do so to be able to remain as unbiased as possible in regards to this subject. I was able to watch a few of Derrick's videos in order to understand what his nonverbal baseline is, and I will be relying on that and nonverbal generalities throughout the rest of this read. Some things that I want to go ahead and cover real quick before starting into the actual analysis. First, I have removed all the previous moderators for just the main reason that I would like to be able to make sure that I go through intentionally and select the best people for the job. So if you are still interested in being a moderator for the
All
channel
right.
and have experience being...
So you know what? We have muted it for a quick moment. He's just asking for a resume right now. So let me just tell you who I am and what we're doing. I'm a self-love specialist from TanyaTKO.com. I help you learn how to love yourselves and one another. On this channel, we use viral video topics as teachable moments for what self-loving or self-abusing looks like in our own lives. There's been a story that's gone viral recently about this situation with Derrick Jaxn and his wife. Derrick Jaxn is one of our famed YouTube content creators who ended up in a bit of trouble when he spent 12 years preaching about relationship stuff. And okay, so he's saying no hate speech. He is a famed relationship expert who was preaching about relationship tactics that he himself was not doing in his marriage. There was another person who did a body language analysis, and shout out to Al Kahinat, who instructed me, who asked me to please do this video. She said that this video analysis from this guy is important to cover and to follow because she says he's really good, more in depth than the last guy. This guy is going to be reacting to it live, and he is going to be putting it up on his Patreon afterwards. So if he takes this off of YouTube, we're going to be making this private as well. So we'll get a chance to watch it together. For those of you who are saying, listen, I'm tired of the whole Derrick Jaxn story, you don't have to watch this video. You can also suggest other videos. I create content that the people who support my channel suggest to me. And so we've been talking a lot about this over the past day about whether or not this is a gossip channel or a learning channel or whatever. If there is content and content creators that you enjoy and appreciate on YouTube, support them. Because if we have to be dependent on the algorithm, if we have to be dependent on YouTube for dictating our content and how we get paid, then we're going to do what the algorithm wants. And the algorithm wants viral stories. And so this is what we cover. And that's what it is. Support the content creators who you like so that they can make the content that you like instead of leaving it up to the algorithm to determine that content. All right, so he's talking about the vaccine and stuff. So we still have a few more moments. I'm looking for. So he's saying that he's had the vaccine and some other stuff. He's had some side effects. Okay, so he said he's done his audio check and he's ready to go on live.
Between what you're
okay,
seeing
so
and
you
what
hear
I'm
him.
saying. So I'll say a line, and then it's a good 10 to 12 seconds later that you will actually hear me say it. It's the weirdest, most over-the-top delay, so I apologize for any disconnect in that area. But I think that is enough talking about me.
Okay, he's about to get into it.
Precursor to everything. Hopefully this is going to work. I'm going to try my buttons here. Looks like we're able to work with this. And you know what? I'm not even going to have to start playing
Oh,
the
he's
video before I want to point
small.
something out about the posturing of these two here. This is Derrick and his wife, from what I understand. So as you can see, Derrick is very comfortable in the frame. He's not adjusting in any special sort of way to be able to make things fit. He's just there. And his wife is having to already have her arm kind of awkwardly around him. And this isn't something that needs to be read into too much, but it is something to note that he is dynamic spikes, be them positive or negative, in their baselines to be able to establish perhaps there's going to be some emotional leakage. For those of you who are curious or might be new to nonverbal communication reading, there are a few things that I want to get out of the way. One, there is no universal tell for deceit ever, period. No argument there. If anybody says that there's a universal tell for deceit, they are blowing smoke up your butt, so don't listen to them. No universal tell for deceit. Also, nonverbal communication is pretty individual. You have a specific baseline per person. There are generalities, though. I will be relying on some of those generalities to be able to get
This
a
is
more
his
accurate
loudest
read. But
sound.
if you want to have the most accurate nonverbal reading, you have to spend hours and hours collecting information and studying behavioral patterns with an individual before you can get a very accurate read. This is going to be a speed read, so it has the possibility of being highly accurate, but it's almost like a gamble on the accuracy side of things. There will be areas where it will be less accurate, more accurate, so on and so forth. So I hope that is all clear to you. I hope this makes sense. And I'm going to see if I can now move forward with this and watch the video itself. And
I'm sorry, you all. The guy is using really low volume, and this is his highest volume. If you want, I can turn my volume down so that you can catch his, but this is his high. You see, it's all the way up. This is his highest volume.
yeah, we'll just go from there. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my video here, which means that I will be losing track of your comments for a second here while I do the analysis, and then I'll switch back and forth here. So you can see my cursor here. I'll try to use this to highlight some emotions, expressions if I can. Not necessarily will work all the time, but let's go ahead and begin.
What's going on, guys? Derrick Jaxn here, and today I am joined by my lovely wife, Danae, and we just want.
Alrighty, so let's speak about her body language for just a second. On her face, she already has a tight-lipped smile that doesn't reach her eyes, and her eyebrows are staying a little bit lowered. This is frustration on the top half of her face, perhaps annoyance, and then the tight-lipped smile is another sign, an indicator of frustration or anger, and it doesn't reach her eyes, so it's also fake. All the way around, this expression is not one of I'm really supportive and happy about this. She's irritated.
Mm.
She's very frankly irritated. And from what I saw of this video, I haven't watched this all the way through either because of two reasons. One, wanted to be unbiased, and then two, I got a little annoyed. So I'm going to work hard to maintain my unbiased approach to this, but I will also be very clear when I'm talking about my opinion on things. So let's continue. Also, I'm going to check real quick here over on the chat side of things. How are we doing with the sound from the video itself? If you can give me a thumbs up in the comment section or something like that, that would be great. I am checking that now, and then we'll dive back into stuff.
I should go over and tell him, look, my fans say your audio's low. Can you imagine? I'd be like,
and for those
the
of you
knockout
who
said it's low on my page.
Purchased anything from Derrick or have watched his videos before, from what I could see, there is some good knowledge from what he's saying, just some things that are kind, be a good person. But my difficulty that I had with him while I was watching enough just to try to get a baseline and not infuriate myself was that he presents information that might be good information, but in a way that feels manipulative. It's almost like it's a lightly masked toxic masculinity content. That's the immediate feeling that I got from his presentation, from the style of content that he made. And it's not my favorite style of content. Also, JR, Air. Thanks for another live stream. Appreciate your time and efforts in bringing the reading to us. Absolutely no problem at all. I'm going to go ahead and move back over into the video, and we will continue with whatever this is going to be.
To address a couple of things, we understand that some of you may have already heard, maybe not, that this chapter of our marriage is one that was preceded by a marriage that I completely failed. And I would say it just started around August, maybe September of last year. But a lot has been said already about what was the cause and all that other stuff. Some of it.
So it's interesting to me on his facial expressions, the side of things, he has a little bit of disgust and contempt slipping into his face
Hmm.
on one side of his face. Over here on this side, it's staying fairly active with this corner of his mouth raising regularly, and it's affecting this area of his nose. That's a common area of disgust and contempt, which isn't to be unheard of when somebody is accused of something like he's been accused of and he's now admitting to. They have contempt and disgust in those areas, be it towards themselves, be it outwards. I don't feel like he has too much contempt towards himself right now, but I am seeing it play across his face. Her expression is still maintaining a very tight-lipped expression, which is just biting back negative emotions that she's no doubt feeling. Also, as far as the power dynamic that's going on with their positioning here, he's very animated, very dynamic, and he's also got just a firm grip here on her hand. And like I said, I haven't seen the whole video, but from the little bit that I saw, which was maybe about 45 seconds of this, he never lets that go. And meanwhile, he's gesturing and moving, and she's just kind of like being drug around with his hand. And it feels like this very strange, overpowering gesture. I don't feel like this is a healthy relationship that they're showing here. And that would make it to where a lot of his content that he's spoken of in the past about how to be a better person in general kind of falls to the wayside as I just see this sort of display here. That's not a guarantee, but it is something that I am taking note of. I'm going to continue watching here. Just so you know, the chat is not up for me, so I will pop back in on occasion to check on the chat to see if there's any questions or anything like that, and then I'll come back over. I'm going to keep watching this for just a little bit here, and then afterwards, that'll be a really good question and answer time. So if you do have questions, try to hold on to them till the very, very end, where I'll just pull over and do everything over there.
It is true. Some of it is completely false. But the truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derrick Jaxn was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by
This bothers me a lot, and it's not uncommon. You can hear him, the verbal processing of referring to himself in the third person. Now, there are complexes that enable this and whatnot, and then sometimes people just refer to it, but almost every time it's a verbal distancing. It's either a conscious or subconscious psychological distancing from whatever they're speaking about. So this is Derrick Johnson, or did he say Derrick Johnson? Jaxn, sorry. Whew. This is Derrick Jaxn speaking, right? This is him. But then he's referring to himself in the third person, which is him trying to separate himself from what he did. This is a really lame attempt to make it sound like, oh, I'm a different person, I'm a better person, so on and so forth, without really giving us any reason to believe that. And judging by her, how she's behaving, it also doesn't lend us to be like, oh, well, obviously he is a different person, because she doesn't even believe it herself. So this processing that you hear verbally from him with the third person kind of reference to himself, that is most likely the interpretation of it, is that he's distancing himself from whatever he's speaking of, in this case, his cheating on his wife. So I know that that was a common question for a lot of you. That's immediately what stuck out to me for that, and the psychological reason behind that. Let's keep watching.
involved, I want to be clear. I'm not talking about just casually kicking it, maybe a lunch or something like that. I'm talking about as serious as sex, to sexual flirtation and meeting up and that kind of thing. And some things that otherwise may be considered okay by some in terms of like just chatting or checking on people or being checked on by people.
Interesting. Okay, so on his face, there's no emotional leakage of shame. There's no emotional leakage of contempt or disgust or anything centered around this. It stays pretty blank the entire time. His eyebrows continually raise, and this is a gravity defying gesture. It's also used to amplify what he's saying, kind of as you would perhaps an exclamation point or italics and typing in font. But on her face, during certain points of this, she has tactfully placed blinking, and I don't think it's intentional on her part, but it is an indicator of emotional blocking at times, or at least frustration whenever a person does a slow blink or a look away. And you could see that pop up throughout his speaking from her. And this just is another indicator that's hammering home to me that she's indeed not really happy about this. Also, I think just about anybody can look at her, just look at how she's positioned and what her face is showing, and you could tell that she doesn't feel happy. She's not overjoyed to be doing this video, and frankly, I'm a little weirded out that they decided to do it together, and something gives me a feeling just by what we're seeing here that it wasn't that they decided to do it together, but more so that Derrick decided to do it together, and she's there. But let's keep watching this. I'll hop over into the comments after this little bit and kind of see if there's any questions for us.
That I've had a previous encounter with, but without my wife's knowledge of it and with us having a sexual history, all of it falls under the umbrella of inappropriate, cheating, affair, stepping out, definitely not in alignment with the vows that I took, and definitely not in alignment with the biblical standard of what it means to be faithful, which is the standard that I'm going by now. Now, I'm saying this publicly, not because I'm, married to you guys. First and foremost, I'm accountable to God. Then I have to be accountable to my wife, in which we've already had this conversation.
Okay, so we could see she's doing a big lip compression. This is another indicator of frustration. And something that he's doing, which is frustrating to me, is pulling in religion. This is often used in these sorts of apologies where a moral character is being questioned. He pulls in religion, or the person who's being questioned will pull in religion to be able to help alleviate some of the intensity of their scrutiny, so to speak. And people are looking at him and really being frustrated with him. So he's pulling in this God side of things to hopefully balance that out, to where he's like, no, this is still, God's still involved in this, and so on and so forth. And it's a very common and easily, you can easily navigate around it, so to speak. You can see through it pretty easy. He's trying to pull wool over people's eyes by pulling in religion and pulling in God and pulling in that side of things to show that he's still moral when he's shown that he's not. And this is not talking about every relationship dynamic. This is talking about their dynamic. She's obviously not okay with it. He knows that she's not okay with it. So their relationship, they're not okay with it, which means that it's a bad thing. This isn't the case with every relationship. There are some relationships that are open and they function fine that way. This is not that case. So when he's seeing it as bad, he's acting as if it is bad, and she perceives it as bad. So we have to work off of that basis. I'm going to go ahead and hop over into the chat here, see what's going on, and see if there's anything that I missed. And then we'll continue on with the analysis itself. Let's scroll up to see if there's anything in here that I have missed.
So he's going on talking about the chat right now. So listen, what are your thoughts about this so far? He's basically going over some of the things that we heard inside of the other video, right? But there are some other things that he's expounding upon. So one of the things that I like that he said is that there's no baseline for facial expressions of movements that are across the board. So that's pretty good. I'm going to wait for him he's just talking to his audience in the comments right now. So what are your thoughts on this? I know some of you are fatigued of the story. If you're fatigued of the story, you can click off. If you're still interested in more, like the people who continue to send me things to do more on, then let me know what it is that you think. The guy's name is Observe. That's the name of the channel. I'm going to get the link in the description. So give me 1 second. Because I can't edit it while I'm on. Let me see if I can get this in the description. So I'm going to add his so he's just talking about nonverbal communication and says, if you see this, so I'll put him back in.
Red flag to you. It's just helping you understand how to be better off yourself, especially through the lens of nonverbal communication. So let's, Papa is parrot in Russian too. Oh, cool. Yeah, I know Russian also. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hop over to the video and we'll continue on this. All right.
I've already told her literally everything. I've given her basically a roll call list if I've said hello to a woman in the last 12 years.
Okay, so you can see her eyebrows have gone up here, which is just one of those indicators of like, yes, I've heard that. That's not, don't read too much into that. But then you can see that her smile here is going up on one side. This is a smile of contempt. She's not feeling great about it. It's a half-hearted smile at best, but then also having moral or intellectual superiority, which is obvious. Like that would be obvious in this sort of situation, in this sort of dynamic. She doesn't have a lot of respect for what he did, and I don't think any of us blame her for that.
Of me knowing her, she knows about it. But now that
pursed lips on her side, this is another indicator of frustration. Let's keep looking at his as well.
It's been made so public. It's important that I first off let you guys know I do not stand by those actions. I don't want to encourage anybody to do that. And
Okay, so he has a little bit of contempt sneaking out on this side of his face, and he also does some eye blocking in there, and he's shaking his head. I don't stand by this, and maybe this is related to that. He could be trying to say that he doesn't stand by his previous actions, so on and so forth. And this isn't actually unheard of in these sorts of situations, because a person who cheats will oftentimes have an immediate and very short-lasting, genuine remorse for it. Very short lasting is the issue, though. They will feel it, and it will show up in their nonverbal communication this way, but it's not long lasting, meaning that it's not fully genuine. It's not going to hold out for a long time. Eventually they'll fall back into their same patterns. So right now, with that sort of cluster in there, it could be attributed to his genuine disgust or contempt towards his actions. The real deciding factor on that side of things is going to be, how long does he hold on to that? We'll have to see. I don't know if they'll publish anything else here. I just still feel I get really uncomfortable vibes, for lack of a better term, uncomfortable vibes from this entire display that they're showing. It just doesn't feel appropriate, and it feels very lopsided. But let's keep watching.
And then secondly, I know that I cannot build a platform preaching certain things, preaching against certain things. And this
So you can see his mouth is pretty active during this time. It has some pulling down. It has some pulling up at the corners of his mouth. The pulling down is common in fear. And this doesn't mean like I'm afraid of stuff. It can be like the oopsie sort of thing. That's one of the terms that I use, because a lot of people get that, the oopsie expression, which is like
fear
oopsie,
for
I
his
shouldn't have done that.
platform.
But it's still related to fear. Pulling upwards is an indicator of disgust or contempt. And those all still fall in line with what he's saying here. Chances are, if we're going to decode what his face is saying during this time, he's feeling like he did a mistake.
Really?
Obviously. And his face is showing that. And he's showing contempt towards that. Now, the contempt is hard to decode, because we don't know if it's towards himself or towards the fact that he has to make this apology. So it's outward or inward. It's hard to be able to say on that front. But so far, that is what his face is.
You know, remember the other body language guy said that that was a smirk of his, but this guy is saying that his mouth is pulling down in fear and contempt.
Showing her face is maintaining this expression here continuously, and that's not good or bad. That is really pretty neutral. But if anything, she just doesn't seem too impressed. The hooded eyelids is one of the biggest indicators of that. She seems detached and unimpressed, would be a way of describing that. If your partner is looking at you like that while you're trying to describe something or be real to them or passionate towards them about something, they're not interested in it. They're not impressed by it. That would be what we can get from that. And that makes sense. And I would be able to empathize with that pretty well. Let's keep watching.
in my real life live contrary to that for any amount of time, or any length of time, to any extent, and think that I can't be held accountable. The same way that I preach, men and women in this.
Another big lick lip and lip compression from her, still biting back negative emotions and frustration, very common. I'm going to move these up here because it's a little soft for me to hear, and hopefully this will make it to where I can hear it a little bit better. It'll be a little weird to have these headphones just chilling right here on the deal here, but it'll help me hear and it won't echo in here, hopefully.
Situation need to face consequences of their actions, deserve to be held accountable. Guess what? Derrick Jaxn's no exemption. He's not exempt from that. I'm also not a victim.
Okay. So now he's using Derrick Jaxn in an area that's not designed to separate. It's almost as if he's been creating content that he has his own character that he likes to refer to, and it's still somewhat on a subconscious level centered around this separation concept, where Derrick Jaxn, the one speaking, is different from the Derrick Jaxn, the one doing. It's ridiculous. I don't have a lot of appreciation for people who use this. It's almost always accompanied by some sort of superiority complex, where they just feel like they're better than everybody and have the right to be able to talk down to you. So, like, for the love of God, if you ever saw me ever do something like that on this channel, unsubscribe, do whatever you can to get rid of that side of me. It's an atrocious behavior. And if you find yourself doing that, maybe try to figure out a way around that. It's very off-putting, and it's very demeaning towards other people as well. It's very strange, very odd. Let's continue watching. So far, there's not too much that's stuck out to me for any possible deceit or anything along those lines, but let's just see.
Nobody made me do this. She didn't make me or push me to do it. The next person didn't make me. No friend influenced me. It don't matter how I was raised and what trauma, whatever. Look, I made decisions. I made a series of decisions that I got to account for. There's no excuse or justification. I've already made that bed and have had to lie in it. And now we're finally getting on to the other side personally in our own healing, in our own marital oneness. And now this is being made public to you guys. So we're bringing that forth to you guys to let you know where we're at with that. But did you want to say anything?
Yes. So I do want to just add that I agree with what he just said. There is no justification for bringing other women into our marriage on any level. And it was unacceptable. And it's not something that I tolerate or that we tolerate moving forward. And
okay, so this is an interesting dynamic. She's doing a very controlled gesture this entire time, and that's good. That's just average nonverbal communication. But speaking on the way that he's holding hands with her, this entire enveloping of the hands, it's still an odd power play. This can happen in couples, like say one of them likes to hold, just cupping the whole hand, but it is a power move. This is also very evident in political realms, in handshakes. If you see somebody, or actually in any realm where you see a handshake happening and the person does a cupping of the other side of the hand, so they're doing the handshake and then they cup it, it's a power move. There's more skin contact, and then you literally have control. He literally has control right now. If she wanted to yank her hand out, she has no option to. He's quite literally holding her hand there by force. And this is a power move on his part, and I don't know if this is intentional or subconscious from him, but it is absolutely evident. And if you have a habit of doing this, maybe consider the effect that it's having psychologically on the people around you, because for many, many people, consciously and unconsciously, it will affect them negatively. They will feel like you're being overbearing, that you might be overpowering. It's also designed to help build rapport quickly. So maybe this is based off of their rapport. Maybe they hold hands like this regularly, something like that. That could be it. But that's not the feeling that we're getting from it, largely based off of her nonverbal communication. There's not a lot of affection coming from her.
Yeah.
There's not affection in their dynamic in general. The only sort of affection that we have here is that they're holding hands, or he's holding her hand.
Yeah.
And so that makes it to where it feels unbalanced to us, because their body language is showing us that it isn't. I'm going to hop over to the comments, see what y'all are up to, and then I'll continue in on this. I honestly need another screen. That would just make this easier, but I mean, it's kind of what we've got here. So I'm going to scroll back up here.
All right. So he's just checking his comments right now. So let me hear some of your points of view about all of this, because he's saying some things that are different than the last guy. And the last guy found different things, like the rubbing of his own finger and doing some other things inside of there. He talked about her dead eyes and just her look of detachment. So that was really interesting from the other guy. And so it's interesting to hear that the smirk that we saw that this guy is saying is fear and shame, when it even looks like he's smiling. So what are some of your thoughts on that? I'm going to check the Cash Apps in a moment in case there's anybody whose comment I have not seen. Give me 1 second. Okay. So we have Leandra, who sends $2 and says, recently found your channel and wanted to support. Thank you, Leandra. Thank you. Oops. So Shelly is saying this guy is wrong. He has no shame. Christelle is saying, seemed like a smirk to me. Yeah, so I don't know. So what are your thoughts on the difference between this guy and the last guy? I actually, Jesus, the last guy, I found that he did like the slow frame and the zooming in and all of that. But I know that this is live, so maybe he's not able to really zoom in like he wants to, but maybe that could be one of the reasons why not to do this live. But he's just basically, okay, he's answering a question right now.
They will look at each other. This can change while on camera, for instance. say he's used to talking to a camera, so he'll make a lot of eye contact with the camera. That could be an explanation of that. But the imbalance that you see there is definitely there. Like, that is an actual imbalance, and it is an indicator of their mental states. She's referring regularly to him. He's not referring regularly to her. And that also lines up with the nonverbal communication that we've seen centered around their power dynamics as well. And to be very fair, I do feel like perhaps he is a little bit of an overpowering partner in their relationship, dominating, and not necessarily in a good way, because there's dominating personalities and there's not dominating personalities, and that can be fine, but in certain instances like this one, it can be very, very unhealthy, and I feel like that's the case here just from everything that we've seen so far. Thank you so much for your donations. I'm going to do one more super chat, and then I'm going to go back over there, so no more super chats here. Can I just say that this chat is full of people being supportive and kind about this girl's situation. It's like a breath of fresh air. Channel rules, but so does this channel's community. I have to absolutely agree that the community.
So he's talking about how wonderful the community is. Let me read some of these cash apps over here. And then when he comes back from, reading his, then we'll jump back into the video. All right. So Nay says everything he's seeing, pointing out makes sense. Okay. Nay sends $5. Thank you. But what about the conflicts between the last guy and this guy? Aziza sends $5 and says, looks like she's being elbowed in her side. You know what? We're going to take a look at that in a moment. Micah sends $30 and says, for being real. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Shelly says, stop making an excuse for him. He's the clown. Are you talking about the analysis person? Let's take a listen.
3 minutes of it. So let's
keep
watching here.
When I've been flooded again with messages and these things and about, I need to leave or why haven't I left? And the answer is, when I found out about it, I left. I did not hesitate or waste time to do so. And I stayed gone. No matter how many times he came, I stayed gone and stood firm on, I am not coming back. And I did not come back until I seen a shift and a change in his mentality, in how he carried himself, in how he...
Okay, so during this time, she's still maintaining a very blank, nonverbal expression. There's not a lot that's happening on her face. There's perhaps some frustration leaking in here through the movements of her lips and corners of her nose, so on and so forth. But I'm paying more attention to him during this time, because that's more of the times that you can get a read on the other person, is when they feel like the attention isn't on them, it's maybe on somebody else. So during this time, he's maintaining eye contact like somewhere over here in this area, which he's not referring to her often, and when he does, it's a very like intentional look. This is still hammering in that concept that he's not there for her really so much. Also, I'm still not getting any sort of remorse. I'm not getting any sort of sadness or frustration or anything coming from him. He does have a few lick lips in there with lip licks. I do that all the time, lick lips. Lip licks in there, which are a sign of nerves perhaps, but not all the time. Also, you can see here that he has some occasional lip compressions as well. This is also centered around frustration, perhaps anger. And it's not the sort of emotion that you would expect to see, but this isn't the sort of video that you would expect to see. So she's saying that she saw him change somewhat before coming back. And maybe that's true. She didn't have any emotional leakage or nonverbal leakage to show me that it wouldn't be true, but not enough really to go off of here. So let's keep watching to see what the actual video does, and then we'll talk about more a little bit later.
He presented himself in conversations that we were able to have that we had never been able to have in just 12 years of knowing each other. And when we were able to have these dialogues, said, okay, Lord, this is something that you've had your hand on. And this was with me being completely removed from his life.
He's doing a lot of lip licking, swallowing, and unsettled gestures during this time. This is uncomfortableness from him. But I'm not seeing anything in the eyes or anything in that area that would indicate sadness or remorse. either. So if anything, I'm getting the nonverbal feeling that he's uncomfortable with this and that he's not settled with this, which is good. He shouldn't be, and he should be very uncomfortable, but I'm not getting that he's sad for this, or at least he's detached from it. So what he's presenting to us here might not be his organic self. In fact, chances are it's not his fully organic self. But you would hope that with his wife being in the frame as well and that organic interaction, it might encourage more organic nonverbal communication from him. And it's just not. There's still this detachment that you're getting from him to where he's like, yeah, I'm admitting this, and big sad thing for me, but he doesn't seem like it doesn't feel like it's sinking in, if you know what I mean. And this is actually common in people who have a very high opinion of themselves. They can apologize for things that they've done, say words like it's not forgivable, blah blah blah. Sorry, just a second here. Anything like that. But when they say it, you feel like it's hollow. And the question is why? And that's because it's not emoting across their face. It's not emoting across his posture. He's not any smaller in the frame. He's still sitting just as confidently as he was. He's not emoting strongly towards it. It's still a fairly neutral expression for him, except for these odd, uncomfortable, nonverbal tells that he's showing here. And this means that he has some separation between what he's done and himself. And this also is added to by this referring to himself in the third person thing. So far from what I'm reading from his body language, he's saying he's sorry, to be very fair, but it doesn't feel like he's sorry. And I don't think he feels sorry. Not to the degree that she is frustrated by it. So there's an imbalance there emotionally for them, and that's frustrating for me to see. And I get really frustrated with people who do this sort of apology where they're like, I'm just so sorry. I did a really terrible thing. And they're just like sitting big and powerfully and confident in the deal. And there's just no remorse. There's no actual nonverbal communication of sorrow, be it sadness, fear, remorse, so on and so forth. But that could just be my opinion as well. Let's keep watching this.
And him pursuing God, continuing to pursue God, and continuing to eliminate.
So that rapid increase of blinking, this is an indicator. I actually was just reading an article today centered around one of these tells, and that's that rapid increase of blinking, and it's like a fluttery effect. He doesn't like what he's hearing or what he's thinking about in regards to that. And he's also looking up and off to the side. So far, he's been looking steadily, like down off to the side like that. But now he was looking up here, and he had that rapid increase of blinking. And this is almost a sign of annoyance, which is not something that you want to see either. So also, I'm having trouble hearing her because she talks very, very softly. But I hope you can hear her okay. Let's keep watching this.
These things that led up to the catastrophe that you guys are seeing for the first time. So there's nothing out there right now that is information that I don't already know about or haven't known about.
I don't know if I believe that. She's saying that there's nothing that I don't know about, and his blinking immediately rapidly increases. That I'm not sure about, because that increase of blinking is emotional processing and psychological processing that increased dramatically right when she said those words. I don't buy that. She buys that. She thinks that. I don't think that's true, though. From what I saw from him, I think there's more to it that he's just simply not sharing. She says that I know everything that's out there right now, and he blinks like that rapid increase, which is a spike in his nonverbal communication from his baseline before. He had an average rate of blinking, and then it increases like that. I wouldn't buy that so much. It's too bad she's not looking at him, because oftentimes partners can read each other this way, even on a subconscious level. But I don't buy that. I wouldn't buy that if I were her. So let's keep watching.
And so this is not something that.
Okay, yeah, no. So right after that, following up here, he looks off to the side again in a different area, and he has this kind of move with his mouth. This is another frustration expression, and that large cluster that happens there really indicates heavily to me that he has not actually told her everything, all the details. Perhaps there's something that he's holding back on because either he's too ashamed, or because he feels like it would hurt her more, or because he feels like she would forever leave, sort of thing. Regardless, there's some more baggage that he's not saying.
is new.
Big swallow afterwards as well. Okay, that you get that entire string of nonverbal communication, that sentence, that nonverbal cluster is a heavy indicator that he's not being fully open to her, despite him saying that he was earlier.
We have moved forward from it. We have gotten counsel for it and continue to do so. He is still continuing to pursue God and continuing to seek guidance and wise counsel from men of God. And that is what I needed for the continuation of me being present and in this marriage.
So you could see this movement down here with the hands. He's obviously squeezing pretty tight because you have to shift your fingers out. And that's neither here nor there. When I hold my wife's hand, my fingers they lose circulation fast. So I move that. That's not a big deal. Then afterwards, he's rubbing her hand after that. Like,
is he rubbing her hand?
It's him showing that he's there, he's present. And whether or not that's for a power move or for an emotional support move, we can't say. From everything else that we've seen, I'm leaning towards a power move that he's masking as an emotional support move.
Look at the body language.
But I can't really say that. That's more just my opinion. Regardless, you could see that movement that he did down there with his hands on her.
I'm sorry. Let me pause this for a moment. Listen, I don't know this guy, the observed guy. I really don't. I don't know. This is my first time seeing his video. Look at their body language. Jaxn is looming. Look at him. Look at the body language, the nonverbal communication that you see. Her shoulder is up here, and he's like, he just finished rubbing her arm. She's talking. It looks like he's pulling her. I'm telling you, look at it. Look at the body language. It looks like he's pulling her this way, and he's looming. You see how he's like looming over her? You see that, right? This big hulking man looming atop her. And somebody said his jaw is tight too. Absolutely. Absolutely. When he goes to read the comments, I'm going to read the cash apps that have come in, but let me continue playing the video. But I don't know why he's not picking up on this. Like, really, seriously, look at his body language.
But let's keep watching here. You could also see that he's looking at her more often now as she's speaking, and that's good to see, but it's still not.
Is that good
empathy.
to see?
It's just a calculated, I'm looking at you now sort of expression. I'm going to hop over to the comments real quick, see where we're at on that, and then we'll continue.
Okay, let me read our cash apps over here. If I've missed your comments in the chat, I'm sorry. It's going really fast and there's a lot going on. So, wow, this is a lot. Okay, so here. Let's read these that have come in. All right, so Nikki sends $10 and says, "Hey Queen, love you and your platform." Thank you. Thank you. Okay, LaRonda sends $10 and says she sounds like he wrote a script for her. It does kind of sound like, yeah, the whole thing just does not seem free and real. Shelly sends $10 and says the gag order is fake. No papers filed per lawyer. Oh, really? So there were no... Interesting. So why did they say that the gag order was created? It was Tasha K's platform that came up with that, right? Why would they say that if there really was no gag order? Keisha R sends $2 and says frustration ? Facts. DJ's mine. I'm gonna kill that. Kill that what? Oh my goodness. Okay, I feel you on that. Wow. And Tawana sends $2 and says it's body language. Maybe they interpret differently. Yeah, well, this is actually very interesting that they have two different ways of interpreting. And Sonia sends $1 and says, other guy mentioned narcissism. This one hasn't yet. Yeah, and you know what? That's definitely inappropriate because only a psychologist that analyzes a person one-on-one can be able to diagnose them as having narcissistic personality disorder. So the last guy who said that he was, that could have been for theatrics. There could have been a lot of reasons why he said that, but only a psychological professional can say that a person has NPD. Okay, he's coming back. He's saying this is going to be another repeat offense. Come on.
Encourage it to be. Also, thank you, Lauren Purdy, for the laughing pair and the donation. Appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna head back over to the video, and we'll do that for a bit more here.
And to stand by his side. So today, where I'm at is at peace, and I proudly stand by his side, and I have no hesitation. I have no hurt, no shame about that. And it's
Don't believe that on her front. She had a lot of verbal stuttering during that time, oddly, around when she's saying, I have no hesitation. And then she started looking around rather rapidly, and her blinking increased while she's trying to say, I have no hurt, I have no shame, so on and so forth. Not true, and not really true at all. I wouldn't necessarily buy that. And she might want to believe that, especially if it's a faith side of things. She might really be wanting to say that she's that way or she feels that way. But at least from her subconscious leakage that we're seeing here, I wouldn't buy that. It's not lining up with what her words are saying. That's a large nonverbal disconnect, desynchronization, which can be an indicator of inauthenticity or deceit. But regardless, I don't feel like she's not hurt or she's not hesitant.
I didn't know that. Let me check on that.
Both of those things, but
let me try to
reconnect. Might be
just
trying to present that not only to convince his audience, maybe he said, hey, we need to present that we're on the same page or something like that, but it also could be directed inwards to help convince herself that she's this strong and confident person in this relationship when she's not being allowed to be, if that makes sense.
Hold on.
Of the grace of God and the mercy of God. And
so she has that specific and when she says and, a lot of in there as well.
All right, sorry, there's
centered around that, but that's all that we're still getting from Derrick on this. It's kind of weird, kind of distant in this entire segment. Actually, this entire video, Derrick has been very distant from the repercussions of what he's done, which is not an indicator for authenticity. For those of you who are curious,
I forgave him, and most importantly, God has first forgiven him, and I also forgive.
So when she mentioned something about God there, he looked.
All right, sorry. We got disconnected for a moment, and I'm not really sure what happened. Somebody said we were disconnected on Facebook. I thought something may have happened because the numbers about 10 minutes ago dropped down. So let me take a look on the Facebook page and see what is going on. I'm looking on the Facebook page and it says that we are live. Look, I thought something may have happened because... But no, hold on, let me comment here. Testing. All right, it says that we're live on Facebook. What I can do is I can try to reconnect this. I tried reconnecting it. So let's see. If we remove and then add it back in and click save. All right. So we are trying to reconnect back to the Facebook right now and see what is going on with that. And then we'll rewind his just a little bit. Catherine says, is everything okay with your Facebook account? Who knows? I really, Facebook is, All right. So we should be reconnected to the Facebook, but we never know. All right. Let's try again and rewind his just a little bit to kind of go back to where we left off. All right, here. So let's just rewind just a little tiny bit. And then Let me see. Can somebody test the Facebook broadcast and see if we are back live on Facebook? I see the numbers have gone up, so I think we have gone back live on Facebook. So let's continue to go forward in this. So give me one moment.
Mercy of God. And
so let's go back to where he was.
Also, growth/potential. He's promised their lives were going to be great, and a divorce would ruin his image. This wasn't the first time. Her support is because of faith, which is too bad. I'm always for giving second chances to people because they should. People deserve a couple chances at stuff. But I don't know. I feel like at a certain point you begin enabling, and that can be worse as well. I have a lot of difficulty sympathizing with Derrick on this front, especially if like you said here that this isn't the first time around.
All right, let's pause this.
From what I'm seeing non-verbally from this.
Let's pause this because we rewound back to the part where he was reading his audience comments. So let's read some more of the Cash Apps that have come through. And if you're commenting over here, I'm trying to catch as many comments as I can, and I'm not able to catch all. So it helps both of us if we are able to have a specific designation where you can support and have your comments read aloud. Okay, so Lisa sends $5 and says he feels no shame. He's definitely narcissistic. Thank you, Lisa. And then we have Angela who sends $5 and says, I told you body language is important. Yes, very much so. Very much so. And Leslie sends $5 and says, HG Tutor says he's a narc. He's evaluated the video. Yes, but I'm talking about so HG Tutor, is that a psychologist that has personally evaluated Derrick Jaxn? Because from what it is that I've learned about diagnosing people, you cannot diagnose people from afar. So if there's a person who's saying that they're a psychologist and they're attempting to diagnose Derrick Jaxn from afar, they can actually get in trouble with the state for that. So let's continue going forward.
This won't be the last time around either. This is going to be another repeat offense. I don't give their relationship too much longer, nor would I encourage it to be. Also, thank you, Lauren Purdy, for the laughing hair and the donation. Appreciate it. All right, I'm going to head back over to the video, and we'll do that for a bit more here.
And to stand by his side. So today, where I'm at is at peace, and I proudly stand by his side, and I have no hesitation. I have no hurt, no shame.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. We had to pause this for a moment. Hold on. Lady Red says HD Tutor is a psychopath with a YouTube. What is going on? We watching psychopaths now? Oh my goodness. What is happening in these streets? So we're watching psychopaths. Psychopaths are watching Derrick Jaxn, and psychopaths are analyzing videos. This is 2021. This is the world that we are living in during COVID. I'm sorry, this just is bizarre to me. So there's a psychopath with a YouTube channel. I gotta see this myself. When this is over, we're gonna pull up the psychopath's channel. I cannot. Who can make this up? Let me run to the Cash Apps real quick. So Sonia sends $1 and says HD Tutor has NPD himself. Yeah. So HD Tutor is a psychopath with narcissistic personality disorder, and he's looking at Derrick Jaxn and saying, "This is my brethren." I can't. You can't make this up. Thank you for the dollar, Sonia. And Chen sends £1 and says Derrick Jaxn and his street mystery meat Kool-Aid. I'm done with all of you. I'm done. I'm done. All right, so let's jump back into the video. This is something else. I tell you, this is something else. I would have never imagined all of this. Here we go.
about that. And it's
Don't believe that on her front. She had a lot of verbal stuttering during that time, oddly, around when she's saying, I have no hesitation. And then she started looking around rather rapidly, and her blinking increased while she's trying to say, I have no hurt, I have no shame, so on and so forth. Not true, not really true at all. I wouldn't necessarily buy that. And she might want to believe that, especially if it's a faith side of things. She might really be wanting to say that she's that way or she feels that way. But at least from her subconscious leakage that we're seeing here, I wouldn't buy that. It's not lining up with what her words are saying. That's a large nonverbal disconnect, desynchronization, which can be an indicator of inauthenticity or deceit. But regardless, I don't feel like she's not hurt or she's not hesitant. I do feel like she's both of those things, but she might be just trying to present that not only to convince his audience, maybe he said, hey, we need to present that we're on the same page or something like that, but it also could be directed inwards to help convince herself that she's this strong and confident person in this relationship when she's not being allowed to be, if that makes sense.
only because of the grace of God and the mercy of God. And we
So she has that specific and when she says and, a lot of people's mouths will stay either in a straight line or go upwards when they say ah. But she does it, it's an eh. And the corners of her mouth are pulling downwards. This is still that indicator of fear or discomfort, at least on that front. So related to that side of things, she's battling inwardly about this. And she's presenting words that are saying one thing, but her nonverbal communication is saying a different thing. She's still hurt. She's still angry. She still has contempt. And she still has discomfort in relation to this. Understandably so. I think a lot of us could understand that and empathize with her on that front.
have already turned a new chapter in this story. We are continuing to move forward, and we are just now sharing that with you all. And
Big mouth blocking gesture, big lip lick in there as well. Still discomfort or nerves centered around that. But that's all that we're still getting from Derrick on this. It's kind of weird, kind of distant in this entire segment. Actually, this entire video, Derrick has been very distant from the repercussions of what he's done, which is not an indicator for authenticity. For those of you who are curious,
I forgave him, and most importantly, God has first forgiven him, and I also forgive.
So when she mentions something about God there, he looks suddenly off to the side. He was looking at her, and then he looks off to the side and has that rapid increase of blinking. There's some sort of issue there for him with God. I don't know if that's in relation to he feels like he's failed in his faith, or he has some sort of issue with the idea of God or something like that. But regardless, that increase of blinking has something to do centered around that topic. We have to just kind of guess as to what that might be, but regardless, we can see that there is an issue there.
The others as well, and with that, we are free and moving forward. So that's all I have.
No, with that we are free. And then he's like, oh, absolutely. That's what I was waiting for. All right, so he's going to start talking here. He has a little bit of contempt in his face, and let's just see what happens.
And I get it. Some of y'all, like, this may come as a huge shock, probably a huge disappointment. I let a lot of you down. If you've had a perspective shift on who Derrick is, hopefully it's away from anything remotely close to perfection. And it's simply that, I am a human, and that does not justify anything that I did. But I don't want anybody out there to be putting me on a pedestal. If you did, then I hate that you did that. Maybe I gave you cause for that, and I apologize if I did.
This is still weird. He's doing okay. I'll just talk a second about this. He's doing this thing where he is saying, no, I am fallible. I have faults, so on and so forth, which is true. Everybody does. That's very obvious, and it's very clear, especially now. If this is his not first time cheating on his wife, then we knew that already. But in this sort of situation with the character that he has displayed himself to be, this doesn't come across as him being genuine. This comes across as him making an excuse for himself of being like, yeah, I messed up because I am a human being. And the words are right, people. Like, what he's saying is right. He's fallible. He is a human being, so on and so forth. No shit. But the issue is that doesn't line up with what he presents himself as. That doesn't line up with what he has said. That doesn't line up with his entire channel idea from what I can understand of it. And it comes across as fake to us because of his actions. You can only say sorry for the same thing so many times before the person who hears it or the people who hear it begin to not believe it anymore. And that seems to be the case here. But let's keep watching his little blip here. We're almost at the end of this video, and then I'll start taking some questions and answers and going from there.
For those who are saying, Derrick, I don't want to ever listen to you again, it's totally understandable.
All right. So listen, I want to show you all something that I'm noticing, right? Look, so he has this really gigantic, large body, but look at where her hand is. Let me move the mouse so that the red line is not there at the bottom. It's not going away. Okay. But look at how her hand is all the way in the middle of his body. So it's like he's not coming to her side. She is pulling him. I mean, he's not going over to her side. Look, you see it, right? Like her hand has to span across half of his body so that her hand is like right there in the front of his. Man, this is something else.
Understandable. I appreciate
It's totally understandable. He raises a shoulder. He shuts his eyes. Contempt slips into the side of his mouth. He doesn't like that. He says it's totally understandable, but he doesn't fully believe that it's totally understandable, or he has some negative emotions towards it being totally understandable. Regardless, I wouldn't buy that fully, just judging by his little burst of nonverbal activity there. It's insincere, and he has contempt during it. Not a great time to show those.
You while I had your support and helping me get the message out about healing and healthy relationships to so many people who needed it, myself included. And for those who are going to continue to support, man, I appreciate you like never before, because I know it's not going to be easy going forward, it's at least for a little while so many things are still fresh.
Oh my goodness. Somebody it went by really fast, but somebody in the comments said he is pulling her. Please, I didn't notice this before. Look, make the screen larger. When he is talking, right, I want you to take a look at her head, her shoulders, and her body. Her body is bobbing. Like every time he talks, he's like pulling her. Wow, I didn't notice that before. This is deep, a lot deeper than I thought it was. Just take a look. It's unbelievable. Just look. I'm going to make it larger for you so you can see. Just look when he's talking. Look at her head movement. Look at how her body's moving, because he's pulling her either from just the shake of his body talking. But wow.
My name. But for everybody out there, if you get nothing else from what I've ever said over the last 9
You see
years,
her head, right? Look.
Right here in this video, please get this. Nothing is right until it is right with God. Nothing works.
You see her being pulled, right?
With biblical standard of how God told us to do things, especially when we're talking about a marital, spiritual covenant.
And look at her feet.
You cannot do this by your own understanding, your own
pointed in the opposite direction to him. You see her feet pointing the other way.
So you could see exasperation coming out on her face, which is another indicator of her not being okay with what's going on. If this was, and to quote them, on their own side of things and without God, this wouldn't have worked. And that's not good news for their relationship if they're relying on something to hold them together, something that's not them, something that's not their commitment. Then that is an indicator that it could really fall apart. Because say, for instance, later on, one of them steps away from the faith. Well, then their relationship is almost certainly going to fall apart immediately. Mm-hmm. And that's difficult. So when I see that sort of lingo being used and I see that sort of expression being used from her, that's an indicator that their relationship isn't strong at all. It's just not strong at all. He's shown it, she's shown it, and the words that they're using is even showing it in an inadvertent way that it's not a strong, healthy, stable relationship. It's simply not. And that's frustrating to see, and that's too bad to see, because I feel like, especially on her side, because she's having to make the sacrifices now. He's a dick. She's having to make the sacrifices now, and she's going to push herself to do that for the sake of faith and for the sake of God. And that can lead down a very long, perhaps, but unhappy marriage. That's not good. And I don't think that anybody would support that kind of concept.
No.
Like to live in a very unhappy marriage for a very long time. The length isn't the importance. It's the happiness of the two people that are in it. That's important. Like, sure, be in a relationship for a super, super long time. And if it's toxic and terrible, then that's not good. I don't care how long it is. It's how good it is. And so far we're seeing that it's not good. But let's keep watching.
You have to have the grace of God to break free from certain things, to stay away from certain things, to not operate from your lowest self, whatever it may be. And it's because it's really only by God's grace that we're even able to be here on this video, holding hands. Well, like a year ago, 7-8 months ago, even, I couldn't see this happening. I thought it was over, and I already had begun establishing my relationship with God. But that's the fruit of bringing things in alignment.
Look at her arm, elbow being bent backwards.
Public from last year and years past.
Look,
that's a result
like this.
Of getting out of alignment.
I mean, her arm is being bent back.
That's where we stand. And again, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
Wow. His volume is gone. He's talking, but he has no volume. So give him a few moments to work that out. I'll let you know when his volume comes back. His audience, because this is live on his channel and on ours. So when his audience, it looks like he's looking at the comments. They're going to let him know that his volume is not working. So I'm going to read some of these Cash Apps while he's working that out. Alexis sends $1 and says, I just started watching you and you are amazing. Thank you, Alexis. Thank you. He's still working out his look. He looks frustrated. Don't worry. Take your time. We okay over here. So yeah, this is very interesting. Let me refresh this to grab the new ones that are coming in. But yeah, so what are your thoughts about this so far? He's left his whole seat. All right, maybe he's going to get his technical support person. Okay, I hear some sound now.
Ooh, can you hear me now?
Okay, the sound is coming back.
Oh, I think it might be too loud.
No, we needed it up on your volume anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Moses says that's not a fair assessment. Why? What's not fair? What's not fair?
Hey, I'm making noise at least.
Yeah.
Out for a little bit. You wouldn't believe, right when I started this stream, the battery up there died, and now the battery down here died. I need a better system for microphones, guys. Anyway, let's go ahead and go back into this. So from their own admittance here, the only thing that's keeping them together is God, aka they're incompatible. He's shown that he doesn't care about her. She's shown that she is still hurt by him. That means that they're incompatible and they're only holding their relationship together through faith, which is not unheard of, but it's not an indicator of a healthy relationship. If you find yourself only being with the person you're with because of your faith, then you're not with the right person.
No.
That's really unfortunate. That's pretty sad. And there's a lot of people that have ended up in very long toxic relationships because of that. Let's see here. I just don't want to, I want to make this clear. I'm not here to talk about.
This is our first time too.
Faith in any ways. You can believe in whatever you feel like you need to believe in or whatever you believe in, so on and so forth. That's fine. But make sure that you're still okay. Make sure that you are okay. That's the biggest thing. Make sure you're mentally okay. And so in this situation, I have a lot of pity for her because she's trapped by him, and she's trapped because she believes she has to be. She has to be forgiving. She has to be kind, so on and so forth. Ellie just donated to the microphone fund. I appreciate it. I am trying to figure out the best solution. I thought that these like really nice little
you just keep going forward
would be a good solution for that, but it's not being a good solution. So let's go ahead and talk real quick about
when did we do a live watching a live?
Just the analysis.
This is my first time doing this. Tell me when we did this before, because we just got the live program a few months ago. So when did we do this?
Has a complex to where he's so confident in and of himself that he will detach any negative things that he's done to the character Derrick. comes out and speaking in a third person form.
Mm.
And this severe degree of verbal detachment from him, what he's done, his actions.
That's
show
right.
that
We did
he's
do
not
the Derrick
sincere in the
Jaxn one
apologies and
live. We
actions that
did. We caught it while it was on air.
Derrick
My bad. We did. We
should have
did.
referred to
Sorry.
himself
Sorry, we
as
did.
doing those actions.
We did.
Not
I
Derrick
forgot.
of the past, not younger Derrick, not younger and dumber Derrick, or whatever people will say. Derrick should have said, I was an idiot. I was wrong. I hurt my wife. I hurt her trust, and I've ruined that. That's on me. That's what I've done. I have lied to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people about how to be a good partner, good companion.
That was something we never heard.
And all that time, I myself was being a terrible partner and terrible companion. That's on me. That has nothing to do with Faith. That has nothing to do with her. That's my own ignorance, self-centeredness.
Oh,
That's all he
wait.
said.
Hold the hell up. Somebody
She
said Derrick
should-
Jaxn is live right now. Confirm that for me. Is he live? Because we can jump right over
You know what,
there.
I'm not going to speak
We could
on
jump
what she should
over.
do,
Let me see.
'cause
Live where?
if anything, she doesn't need advice from people right now. She needs support. She needs empathy. And for those of you, maybe somebody
She
out
needs
there knows it.
self-empowerment.
Be there for her as best as you can, because I guarantee you she needs it a lot. And it's a tragic situation on this, just all the way around. And here's the thing.
Okay.
I fully anticipate Derrick to hop back onto his platform and start talking about how you should be a good this and be that and do this, because if you want to do this, then you'll get the girl or whatever, some shit that he puts out.
No, he won't. Third
And it's
Mistress
just
came out.
frustrating. And sure, everybody can have faults, right? Everybody has some area in their life. I know that you and me and everybody sitting here can think through their life and be like, you know what? I
They
do
said
suck on some level as well. There's a part of me
Instagram,
that I
Derrick
know
is
I should be
live.
better
Hold
at.
on. Let's
Everybody
take a
has
look.
toxic
Because if
traits,
that is the doggone case,
in
we about to
general.
jump over.
But not a lot of us are trying to preach in such a way that he is. And for him to try to hang his bad behavior on
There's no
religion,
live over
on
here.
his past self, on all these different things,
He's not live.
I just don't buy it. Non-verbally speaking, he is a dominant personality in their relationship, and not in a healthy way. He, I don't know. He's just not. I don't like him. To be very frank.
How
I
you gonna say you don't
what
like
he
somebody you don't
does.
know?
It's just frustrating, and maybe there's always some good here and there, right? I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to go back through here and read some of these comments. Go ahead and hit me up with your questions here. You kind of know my opinion on it. You saw what I saw here. Looks like $5 for the camera fund, $5 from the microphone fund.
All right,
all these people
so
for the microphone fund.
All right, let's turn on the. I'll let you all know when he starts speaking about this again. I'm going to read some of the Cash Apps. Whew, this is very interesting. Samantha Smith sends $3 and says, "Seems like he was worried he say the wrong thing." Are you talking about Derrick? You mean by the pulling of the arm? Interesting. All right.
Reaction video, Emily.
Yeah.
I might. But I also have to make sure that I get around to Jeff Wittick's video in the David Dobrik
So he's
scandal,
talking about
which
some
I'm gonna
other
have
stuff
heavily to do
now.
as well. Struggling to find anything redeeming about about this cheating fool. You're not alone on that front, Mo. It's just frustrating, especially if it's a repeat offense. That makes it even worse because cheating is a big deal, and it's difficult to get over that. Let's see here. Some people, Lana's Missing Link says, "I'd love to see this on Netflix. Be kind of cool. I just don't know about all of the like red tape in full production like that.
All right. So it seems like his video is pretty much over now. He's just reading comments.
Considine, I believe, enjoying your channel. Thank you, and thank you for the
All right.
donation. I appreciate it.
So I'll keep him minimized,
Hanna,
and we'll
I think
talk.
We'll forgive.
All right. So let's talk. What are your thoughts about all of this? Did you learn anything new from this video? I kind of feel like the first video really rounded up a lot of what it is that we saw and thought. I feel like this video was a little off personally. I feel like, you know what? They're just talking. Let me, I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit more because it's hard to talk while something else is talking in your ear. Oh, all right. I'm gonna remove this from the feed. Yeah, you know what? I'm curious about your thoughts about all of this. Me personally, I felt like the first body language guy kind of went a little further in depth. This guy was good in his analysis neutrality, but I felt like he was a little more afraid. Like this particular guy, he and this is something that I need to remember because, you know, so often the audience will make it seem like if you have an opinion, they're going to push back on you and they're going to, you know what I mean? But I would have liked to have seen him take more risks with really diving into what it is that we saw body language wise. Like, was he rubbing on his hand or was he rubbing on hers? Because this guy claims that Derrick was rubbing on her hand when he was actually rubbing on his own hand and he had her arm up. So while you're at home right now, I want you to take your arm, put it in front of you, right? Take your arm, put it in front of you to the side and try to bend it backwards. Try to bend it backwards. You can't. But you saw that she was on the chair and Derrick had her hand across his body and he was pulling it to the front of his body. Just see how uncomfortable that is. Your elbow doesn't bend backwards that way. Try it right now while we're on air and let me know whether or not you're able to bend your elbow backwards. And I'm not able to do it. I don't know. I feel like there were a lot of things that this guy missed. I feel there were a lot of things he missed. And didn't really dive into. Ray sends $13 and says, first whole week of enlightenment. Thank you. 3 roses and a heart. Thank you. I'm going to send you 3 hearts back. Thank you. Thank you. And Monique sends $2 and says, I'm worried about the kids. And she sends a heart. What is it that's making you worried about them? Is it because of her comment about being envious of her daughter's dark skin? What is it that's making you worried? Is it her supposed mental state? What is it that you're kind of picking up on? Sharice sends $5 and says he is using her religion to keep her trapped. Yeah, you know, her choosing to be trapped is personal. She is choosing to stay trapped. Shelly sends $5 and says, has more twists and turns than a Netflix. I know, it really is very interesting. It is very interesting. Very interested indeed. So I'm going to listen to a few more of your comments and then we're going to jump out of here. So if you have something that you wanted to say, which I've not seen yet and you wanted me to see it, then repost, send it through Cash App, do whatever it is that you need to do, right? Lady is saying they will get a divorce in the next few years. Here, there it is. They will get a divorce in the next few years. Listen, something's... And Cannon says, wifey's arms should have been underneath his arm, not over. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. So on that note, listen, few more moments that will stay in here. If you have something else that you wanted to say, let me know. If not, then I am going to take some time to just kind of relax tonight because there's a lot of food for thought. And I'm hoping that another story will come by which will catch our attention and one that we can use for self-love or self-abusing in relationship. There are a lot of people who are choosing to see this woman as a victim, and that perhaps gives you the license that you need to see your own self as a victim. However, I implore you, this woman is self-abusing through this relationship. If you are self-abusing in one of your relationships, I implore you to please take a look at what it is that you are being forced to do versus what it is that you are forcing yourself to do. What is it that you're allowing versus what somebody is forcing you to do? Are you a victim? Are you a volunteer? So I implore you to look at yourself, because when we look at other people for what it is that they're doing to us instead of what we're doing to ourselves, we stay stuck in this trap. We stay stuck in this trap. Unive sent $10 and says, just sending love. And she has 2 hearts there. Thank you, Unive. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see what some of you all are saying over here. Give it a moment. Oh, Aaliyah's asking about Sideman. So Sideman told me that he had a conflict that he had to do this evening. And so we have rescheduled for Wednesday. So me and Sideman are going to be collaborating this Wednesday at 10 p.m. UK time. Tina says, I don't want to admit it, but you're right, Tanya. What is it that you feel that I'm right about? And what is it that you don't want to admit? And Clifton says, this is why some brothers date outside their race. And Clifton has no photo. Seems like he's trolling. So we're just going to get rid of him, because this has nothing to do with any of that. You know what I'm saying? What dating outside of race got to do with any of this? So go on. Go on. And Desiree is saying, her staying in that marriage has nothing to do with God. It's her self-esteem and feeling he's too good for her. Maybe even abuse God said, if someone is in a marriage, commits cheating, you get divorced. Listen, you know I ain't about all of that. All right, so let's take a look and see. Mataya sends $1 and says, side guy. Yeah, there's a UK, you just look back about 3 videos back. I did a video with a man who broke down the patriarchy. It is an amazing video. Even if you look at the video that I did yesterday, where we talk about male relationship gurus just hushing, I played a piece of his video in that, and it's an amazing video. His name is Sideman All Day. He's a UK blogger, and he's amazing. And Ebony sends $13 and says, I want to see a pic of Ray. I'm nosy, LOL. And she sends $13, the same amount that Ray sends. Okay, Ebony. Listen, well, you know what? Who knows? He may decide to come onto the matchmaking show. Who knows? But here comes Ray, $13, and says, dropping that knowledge, carry on, and good night, which means he's logging off. So he probably didn't see your thing. But there is a tiny photo of him on Cash App, and he has brown skin. It looks like he's wearing a dress shirt, and he has like a little, it looks like a 5 o'clock shadow. Yeah, okay. All right, Ebony. So, Ebony, are you single? Are you looking? Maybe, we have to see, because after I do my matchmaking part of the show, we're going to have to see about getting some of you matched up. You know what I mean? Asha sends $5 and says she needs to get on her divine feminine-ish. Yeah, you know what? But this is the thing, right? This is the thing. We all have to get to a point in our lives where we realize what it is that we are going to stand for and what it is that we're not going to stand for. But we have to get to that point within ourselves. And we have to have the inner curiosity about a different way. We have to see that there's a different way. I mean, look. We see Ciara and Russell and people have other relationships in their personal lives where they see that there are people who seem to have function and seem to have communication and commitment. So we all have an idea that there's something else out there. We all see single women, single men living their lives. So it's not like we don't know. This is not the 1940s where a woman who's divorced is a scourge on the earth. It's not that time. So if a woman in 2021 decides to stay with a cheating husband, that is a choice. And there's a lot of people out here who are talking about how this young lady is a victim and all this other stuff. She's making a choice to victimize herself by self-abusing in this relationship. So if that's what she chooses to do, I respect her choice. She's a grown woman. And if that's what she wants, she says she knows what she's doing. All right, then I respect it. Elizabeth sends $5 and says, thank you for being you, 10 thumbs up and a radiating heart. Thank you, Elizabeth, $5. I appreciate that. Rayan sends $1 and says, don't forget to look at Psychopath. Oh, yes. Yes, I forgot about that. What was his name again? The Psychopath? The Psychopath with NPD? It was MC, what was his name? TC? Desiree sends $1 and says, sis needs a wake-up call. This won't be his last time. Well, you know, he's over here pretending like he's in the Lord, right? And Leslie sends $1 and says, forget about the Jaxns. Let's talk about Ray. Look at you. Thank you, Leslie. All right. So actually, yes, let's take a quick look at the Psychopaths page. Let's take a quick look and see. Let's take a quick look. So I'm going to go to YouTube and I'm just going to look up Psychopath with NPD. Let me see. Oh, HD Tutor. Thank you. I just looked back at the comments. You all sent it to me. All right. So let's take a look and go over and see HG Tutor. My internet is running super slow. Super slow. All right. So let's look up HG Tutor and Jaxn. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay. Derrick Jaxn, a very self-loving narcissist. So this guy doesn't show his face. All right, let's give one quick listen to one of these. A quick, like 15 seconds to 1 minute. Okay, so Derrick Jaxn under the tutor scope. So which one should we look at? Which one has more views? This one has more views, so maybe more people shared it. So let's take a look and see. Let's see what he has to say.
Derrick Jaxn, a very self-loving narcissist. Hello, I'm HG Tutor. Many of you know who I am and have listened to a lot of my
F
work,
this.
but some of you may be listening to me for the first.
This is the man that you all got whispering into your ear. Hell no. He ain't about to start whispering into my ear. Then the next thing you know, I walk up outside hacking people up tomorrow. No. He's like, hello, Derrick Jaxn, self-loving narcissist. Many of you know who I am. No. And the next thing you know, you like walking up to people talking about, oh, no, I ain't with it. Go listen to it on your own. You go. I'm not having that man's voice inside my ear. He sounds frightening. I ain't doing it. You do it. You see his name, you go. I ain't doing it. You all, Let me see these cash apps of Monique sends $2 and says, someone in the comments says DJ had you on his live. No, someone in the comments said that because I said that I had never done a live of a live, but then someone said Derrick, that I had done the live of Derrick Jaxn's live. Derrick Jaxn hasn't done any lives of me, because if he had, then somebody would have told me already. Because when people talk about me online, I get so many emails. So no. So Kevin Kitten Heels, he briefly mentioned me in one video like 2 months ago, and I knew about that. And then there was another vlogger recently who mentioned me, and I'm sending prayers out to, hoping that this person is okay. But then other than that, that's about it. Okay, Kendra sends $5 and says, Miss Jaxn only knows abuse, never experienced empowerment. Okay, well, so this is the thing, right? This is the thing. We only got one life. And we can become addicted to the pattern, feeling the feelings of hopelessness and disempowerment and whatever, right? But there do exist areas that lack abuse in our lives. Every single moment, every single nook and cranny of our lives is not filled up with abuse. We can see outside of the abuse who it is that we are as human beings is powerful and mighty. We're a lot more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And even if in this lifetime, a person may not feel that they know a time where abuse did not exist, right? We have a connection to universal source energy. And we have a connection to our divine selves, our higher selves, to the universal energy, which is known as universal energy, which is source, which is God, which is the almighty and one love and all of that, right? And so we have got to tap into that higher self within us and be able to create a shift. Because if we don't, then what's going to happen? We're going to spend this whole life being abused. When do we snap out of it? When do we make that shift within our own lives for ourselves? Dominique, no. Dominique sends $1 with a whole bunch of laughing faces talking about whispering and hacking people up. And she has a picture of a knife in here, y'all, which lets me know that she watches this man's videos. Let me see. Do you see this knife down? You can't see the knife, but there's a knife. You see it? There's a knife down there. No, child. You ain't getting me caught up in no mess. You ain't getting me caught up in that. No, I thought I was going to see a video of a professional person who has come to terms with who it is that they are. They're a psychopath. They have NPD and they're talking. No, instead you see some blue line with the things. It's very hypnotic. And he comes on with the British accent. He's probably not even British, but he comes on with the British accent, whispering deep into your ear hole, and you all are wearing these doggone earphones, pressing that up right into your drums. Listen, I went to hypnotherapy school, and I know, you know what? I'm not, you all do what you want to do out there. I ain't going to say nothing. Okay, I'm going to say some more. On my website, I created hypnotherapeutic healing MP3s. When I was in hypnotherapy school, as you know, I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. When I was in hypnotherapy school, right, we had to learn about the ways that we use, the ways that people can be hypnotized not for good reasons, right? And there are a few different ways to hypnotize people not for good reasons, right? In terrible, terrible ways, right? And there's all different types of things out there. There's binaural sounds and beats and entrainment, and there's what do you call subliminal messages and all types of stuff that exists out there. Please But you know what? Okay. I'm not going to be dramatic. I'm going to tell the truth. A person cannot hypnotize you into doing something that you are against, that you feel is morally wrong or goes against who it is that you know yourself to be. Hypnosis is an act, being hypnotized is an act of submission. You submit to a suggestion that you want. So he is not going to be able to hypnotize you into doing stuff that you don't want to do. Okay, so please. So I'm sorry. I was just playing around earlier. Brenda sends $5 and says, what was the name of the man with the creepy voice? You see, she wants more. Listen. His name is H.G. Tudor, was it? H.G. Tudor, I believe it is. Listen. Then we have Ara, who sends $5 and says, love you, Tanya. Keep doing what you do. Thank you. All right. Oh, my Lord. It's going so fast. Let me try to grab this one. Okay, so Thomas says, hypnotherapy is not good. God is the only healing in the world. Dear, hypnotherapy is an amazing tool to assist people in being able to create shifts inside of their lives. You are a lot greater than you think you are, especially if you're living underneath the confines of feeling that there's some entity out there that's greater than you, when you are energy of that energy in the flesh. But this is part of the reason that I did that video the other day, 3 ways that Christianity keeps you stuck. And I'm not sure how many of you went back to see that video, but that's part of the reason that I did the video. And there was a woman who came out and said, I love your self-love messages, Tanya, but one thing that you're not going to do is you're not going to speak about Christianity and I love myself and all this other stuff. And I was like, there are certain aspects of Christianity that remove your own self-empowerment. And there are certain ideas that are pushed in Christianity that strip you of your own internal power, your own connection to divine, your own relationship with God inside of you, and looking outside to other people's interpretations, et cetera, et cetera. And there are things about religion that chip away at your esteem that you don't realize chips away at your esteem. Like even feeling like a victim. And feeling like the devil is doing something to you and like all of these things out of your control. Just watch the video. Juju says, I can listen to you all day. Such positive vibes and you keep it real. Feels like I'm talking to my personal therapist. Well, thank you. I appreciate the love and support. Thank you. Sandra says, Tanya, you woke cool. I appreciate that. But we're all in a process of waking up, right? And so there's a lot of comments that are going past. There's about 1,700 people on the broadcast right now, and we are on 3 different platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter Periscope. And I'm going to grab these last few, and then we're getting out of here. Demetrius sends $2 and says, the women who participated knew they were wrong. Well, according to the women who have come forward, they have all said that they did not know that he was married. He kept his marriage hidden. The people didn't know he was married, et cetera, et cetera. So this is what they're saying. And I'm a little fatigued right now. I'm tired. So I'm going to jump out of here. I'm sure you see my energy is low. I didn't even bother putting on concealer today. And my eyeliner is not sharp. So on that note, I'm going to let you all jump out of here. Oh, hold on. I think I see one. Oh gosh, it's going so quickly. I try to catch something. And Mushonde says, don't support this woman. Seriously. Yeah, nobody has to support me. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. It's as simple as that. So I'm not sure. Has this person been trolling in the comments? Because if that's the case, I could just go ahead and block them. And then Kenneth says, Sean John facts. She claiming she can't read the other comments, but in reality, if they would pay attention, she actually has no trouble freezing them and putting on the screen. Is our women really that weak and vulnerable to be scammed from all sides? Where is the scam? Like I said, there's 1,600 people on here. The comments move very quickly and it's hard to catch them when they're moving up, especially when there's more than 1,000 people on. If there were, even after about 500 people, the comments start to move very quickly. So it's very difficult. If there's anybody who has a problem, listen, I'm going to say this, and I want you all to hear me and hear me very well. Hear me very well. Let me tell you something. I am a content creator. What you are doing while you're sitting inside your house is you are watching a woman working. I create content full time. I don't go into anybody's job and press any button and ask anybody to please pay me. I don't do that. I don't ask the white man to pay me. I don't do that. I create content. If you enjoy the content, and you want to contribute. We have found a way that Cash App allows people to send text messages with their contribution if they want to. Nobody has to send any Cash App. No one has to. People choose to. And the fact that you all are so jealous just shows how much you hate Black women, because I don't see you on white women's channels saying, oh, she's scamming. How is it a scam for somebody to willingly contribute? That just doesn't make any sense, dear. It's because you're jealous because there are people contributing. One guy was counting each amount that I received and was like, now you have $100. And I'm like, son, count. If you invested that amount of time in counting your own money and doing the things that you needed to do to create wealth or financial freedom in your own life, or just financial mobility, then you would be in a much better place. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it just doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Let me tell you something. I've been a content creator since 2007. So I lost count after 13 years. I've been a content creator. After 8 years, I had not found a way to create a business out of content creation. I had a skincare company that started from one of my videos, and I had people on my mailing list for the skincare company, but I did not know how to monetize YouTube because I was only on YouTube at that time. I didn't know how to monetize YouTube. I didn't have any books. I didn't have any courses. I didn't have any classes. I didn't know. But I wanted to write a book. I closed my business and I went to Central and South America. All of this stuff is documented on my YouTube page, right? Because my YouTube page is the oldest page. I went through Latin America looking for a safe place to write my book. I was robbed violently my first day on the ground in Guatemala, right? And then I continued to move south. When 2016 came, it had been a year and a half since I closed my business. When I touched down, I decided I was going to go to LA. I felt like LA was calling me in my spirit, right? I went to LA. When I landed in LA, I started receiving all of these notifications on my phone. Oh, your bank account has a lien on it. Your bank account's been seized, this, that, and the other. All of my money gone, right? So then I landed in a new place with all of my money gone. I was able to stay at somebody's place on their couch for, I believe it was 17 days. On the 17th day, some stuff started happening, and I realized that my stuff probably wasn't going to be safe there when I went to YouTube to do some training the next day. So I just put my stuff in the car. And that actually led to me living in my car, right? I did a GoFundMe, and I know I don't have to explain this to anybody, and I've talked about this already in many videos. And people who don't want to hear don't care anyway, but I'm making this for people who don't know, and so maybe you can understand my stance. And because I'm still growing, and it took me a while to really come to grips with my own story myself, right? Because I had always felt that having money is one of the ways that I loved myself, one of the ways that I showed my ability to care for myself, to have power over my own life. When I didn't have money, I didn't know what my worth was. I didn't know who I was. My business was closed. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what it was that I was doing. And I was living in my car. I felt ashamed. I didn't tell my family that I was living in my car. I just wanted to work it out, right? One morning when I was on top of this big box store, and I was in my car, and there was something that was going on outside of the car that frightened me. Like a light had come on from the overhead, and it was like a motion detector light, and I was frightened. I turned on my camera and I started to make a video asking for help, right? I did that video, and in 8 days I raised $12,000. And I felt, I should have felt good about receiving this money. I should have felt good, but I felt disgusted with myself that I had to ask, right? I felt like I was begging. I felt like I was a loser. I felt like I was nothing, right? And I was trying to use the money to leverage it because I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I wanted to get an Airbnb because I didn't have a way to make money, right? I wanted to get an Airbnb. I wanted to rent a whole house so I could get an Airbnb to be able to rent out some of the rooms. And everything that I did, everything just fell apart. It was horrible, right? It was horrible. No matter what I tried, things just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse, right? And I tell all of that story because I remember the pain. I remember the shame that I felt when I had to ask for help. I remember that feeling. I remember feeling the feelings of, even though I needed it, feeling ashamed for needing it. It's easy to ask for something when you don't need it. It felt like an attack to ask for something when I did, right? And so I say all of that to say, right? I realized then, right? If you don't have a way of making money on the front end, right? Then you're going to have to beg for money on the back end. If you don't have a way to sustain and support and support your entrepreneurialism or your platform or whatever it is, your endeavor, if you don't have a way to get the money on the front end and say, listen, I have this good, I'll sell this to you, I'll sell this information to you, I'll do this, and then you give me this in exchange. If you don't have a way to do that in front, then you're going to be destitute and need for a way for you to get it in the back, right? So for all of the people who are counting my Cash App and all of that, let me tell you, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I feel appreciated. One of the things that I didn't feel when people were giving me when I was in my car is I felt ashamed. I do not anymore. I feel, because, there's many ways different ways to look at it. One of the ways that you can look at it is like people love you so much, Tanya. You gave so much for so many years that when you needed, people poured into you. You gave so much for free for so many years that when you needed and you were in need, people poured into you. In the moment, I didn't feel that. I felt worthless. And I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. I felt worthless. I did not feel worthful. I felt worthless. And that was my own personal stuff that I had to work through. And in 2000, and this perpetuated for a while, I'd say 2018, we're talking just 3 years ago, right? And we lost 1 year in the pandemic. In 2018, I had an epiphany. When I had that epiphany, my epiphany was, you are not a bad person for needing help. Money doesn't make you a good person. Money doesn't mean that you have more worth. Money and not having money has no variance on your life and how much your life is worth, how much your contribution is worth. It doesn't even dictate who you are or where you're going or where you've been. Not having money just means in this moment that the amount of fiat currency that you have available to you is a certain amount. It says nothing about your character. It says nothing about your worth and value as a human being. It says none of that. And it took me from 2016 living in my car. I've stayed in my car for a year. I stayed in my car for a year. Then 2017 came and I was still trying to work it out. I had bought my RV at the end of 2016. I remember it was December 23rd. I think it was Christmas Eve's Eve. I was able to get into my RV and it snowed and I was in the mountains of California and I just had a lot of time to reflect. I didn't really know how to do the whole RV thing and my propane ran out after a few days and I was in there freezing. It was the same. It was like no matter what I did, things just kept being bad, right? So nonetheless, so I say all of that to say that I understand what it's like to have money issues. I understand what it must feel like, for a person. Well, I don't understand, but I can imagine what it must feel like for a person who is struggling and who has limiting beliefs themselves. And they're like, well, why is this young lady getting money? Why are people giving her money? She's scamming them. Those people are stupid. She's stupid, this, that, and the other, right? And I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you, because this is my book right here. This is my book. The book was published at the beginning of 2019, right? The book has sold out worldwide, and I just had to do my second reprint. This book, let me tell you, this book is amazing. This book changes everything in your life. Everything changes with this book. There is power and there is magic in those affirmations that are in this book. I became a certified clinical hypnotherapist when I was living in my car and in the RV phase. I was going to school and still continuing to put one foot in front of the other. Like I said, things kept going wrong, but I kept trying, right? I met contacts then while I was in this effort that I still have and are near and dear to me to this day. But the affirmations in this book, and I just recently started doing the affirmations, and I'm going to tell you, like, there are people who don't understand the power of this book, and even I don't understand the power of this book because this book was birthed through me, right? These are the most powerful affirmations that I said that helped me get out of my car, that turned everything around. And I just started doing the book again because, so this is my personal book right here, which is written in. This is my book. You can't, the light is shining bright. Let me see if I could turn it up this way so that you could see. Maybe if I do it this way, but I don't want you all to read my writings. Can you see? This is my personal book. You can't see because the light is too bright. This is my personal book that I write in. I just started doing this book again. This book attracts money to you. It attracts opportunities to you. It changes your internal chemistry and makeup. I don't know how it does it, but it does it. When I was listening to Abraham Hicks with the power of manifestation and thought and being in that feeling, and how being in that feeling brings the change into your life. And this book puts you in that feeling. I'm going to tell you all how amazing this book is, because when I started doing this book again this past week, right? I did a live broadcast, and I had watched a man's video. His name was Sideman all day. He's a British blogger. He has like 300,000 subscribers. I wrote to him on Instagram. He never wrote me back, right? But I was doing the book now, mind you. I did a live broadcast. I wrote to his agent, his manager, because I wanted to get him on the show. I did a live broadcast, and at the time, you all ain't hearing me. At the time that I did the broadcast, he happened to be on Twitter. And he heard that I was doing a live broadcast about him. And then he came to my broadcast. And there were a lot of people in the chat. And it was moving so quickly, I could not see all of the comments. And this person was attracted into my life, just manifested. I did what I needed to do. I couldn't get in touch with him. I did a live video and he manifested into my life. He manifested into the chat, and I was able to get him onto the program that night. And then we did a mini collaboration that night, and we're going to do a full-on collaboration this week. And it's like little synchronicities like that happen with this book. Let me tell you. For those of you who don't hear me, and I'm glad that this man started talking so that I could talk about this, because this book is so amazing. And I know some people are like, oh, it can't be that. Read the reviews. Read the reviews. A guy who was on Section 8 who started doing the book. Read the reviews on Amazon, and you can buy the book on my website right now. Go to TanyaTKO.com and click on shop. The book is right there in the shop. The book is $20. That's it. I priced the book this way because the book is not a toy, it's not a joke, it's not a game, it is a tool. There was a guy who was on Section 8. Within weeks of doing the book, he attracted $20,000, was able to move his mother into a wealthy part of the state that he lives in. He stopped doing the book. Listen. You got to continue. It's like one of those things just start going so well in your life and you're like, oh, everything is so well. Listen, this book is amazing. I cannot stop singing its praises. However, it works with consistency, and little things just come up into your life. You meet a person, you're vibrating this energy that attracts a deal into your life. You're vibrating this energy that attracts money into your life. When we talk about money, I am diversified. Right now, I'm diversified. The Cash Apps are cool. I love the support. However, money comes to me. Money follow me. Banana follow me. Hey, listen. So you could try to shame me if you want to, but you can't shame me. You can't shame me. All right. Kendra sends $1 and says, Miss J's lifetime of abuse can lead to mental illness. Well, you know what? She may have, she may. We don't know from afar. However, there has to come some point. So even in our mentally unwell state, there are moments of clarity. And there has to come a point where during those moments of clarity, we take action that we need to take. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that dollar, my dear. Zahara sends $20 and says, wife should study Oshun, divine femininity. Yes, however, she has to want to study those things. But remember, she's deep into Christ and that cult that it looks like she's in. You know what I mean? Dominique sends $1 and says, it's always people from FB with effery. I don't get them. Yeah, you know what? This morning I did write to the company to see about how to just not even have Facebook comments come up on the live. It's better for everybody because the comments don't move as fast and the comments are not as toxic. It's pure foolishness. Digital Hope sends $3 and says, I need to hear this. Ask for it on front versus back. What? I need to hear this. Ask for it on front versus back. Let's see if there's another message that answers the rest of that question. Mary Jane sends $2 and says, jealousy is a strong emotion. Do your thing, Tanya. Thank you. Dion sends $1 and says, please tell me your live schedule so I can set a clock. You know what? We've just been going live randomly. So I don't have a schedule for the lives. I'm so sorry. But maybe we can, I don't know. We have to see how to work it out. Aziza sends $20 and says, for the haters, crown and a heart. Thank you, Aziza. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was for $20 right there. Thank you. I appreciate that. Desiree sends $25 and says, for the haters, counting and free self-love resources. Hey, thank you, Desiree. Thank you. Ann H sends $20 and says, keep up the great content, enjoying it. Thank you. When the Cash Apps come pouring in, I feel appreciated. I feel like my content is appreciated. And Maddie sends $10 and says, I'm going to be more consistent with my book. I'm sending you back a heart. Listen, Maddie, let me tell you, keep doing the book. And do it at night, right before you go to sleep, or in the morning, right after you wake up. Sometimes I fall asleep without doing it. And then in the morning, because, notice when you grab your phone first thing in the morning and you start looking at emails and texts and all that other stuff, it has an effect on the way that the rest of your day goes. You can end up having a terrible, terrible day, right? If you do an affirmation or two in the morning, because I do about 3 affirmations at night, and I need to start a new book because this one is filling up. And also, one thing that I suggest that you do is write in. You see the sections that I asked the questions, right? You can't see the. Okay, you can see a little bit of it right here. In the sections that I asked the questions, answer those. Write in it. Even if you're like, oh, the book is too beautiful, I don't want to take up the space, you are worth taking up the space. Answer those questions, because I answered a question the other night, even though this book is mine, answering it and feeling that feeling in your body is so important. I just had all of these tears. One of the questions, it was like about the ancestors, just even naming the things. So like on one of the pages, it talks about it has an affirmation for you being, the manifestation of your ancestors. And it's asked a question about your ancestors. And I just started just crying. And that changed the trajectory of my whole entire day. So listen, this book is available now. I'm telling you, the book is a beautiful, amazing, powerful book. I'll read some more of your comments over here. And Red says, if you don't want to send Cash App, then don't. It's that simple. Damn, exactly. But you know what? It's like people, I don't know. They have this thing. Money is, Vanita said, ordered my book last week. Can't wait to get it. I can't wait for you to get it too. Give me some time because it takes a while to autograph all of the books. So Mojo is saying the dust mites do not have any to give. All they have is Uncle Sam's stimulus, so they mad. Tanya, no need to explain again. Better beg than steal. Fools hate seeing a woman with funds. Thank you. Just Jay says, always check your subscriptions. They will unsubscribe you. And Margarita says, please address what happened from 1K to 500. Oh, shit, down to 400. I don't know what you mean. What are we talking about? Are we talking about the number of viewers? I don't know. I don't know how many viewers. I don't keep up with. I don't place my worth in how many views I get. I don't place my worth in how much money I have. I don't place my worth in how many people subscribe. That's why I'm constantly telling people, if it's not the right place for you, unsubscribe. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Okay. Latanya saying, second book after reading the one I just ordered from the Radical Home Sister Body. I try to read what I have before buying another, but the energy connection is correct. Healing. Well, this is not a book that you read. It's an affirmations workbook. So you don't read this book. You just rewrite the affirmations. So you see, it has a page where you just rewrite the affirmations. Some of the pages you write in the journal part, but it is an affirmations book. It's a beautiful book. Each page is a meditation. So no, it's not like a book that you sit down and read. It's not like a book that you sit down and read. All right. So Letiz is saying, your thing is saying 443. Well, I see 1,380 people on here. And remember, we are broadcasting on 3 platforms. So you see Sean, he's saying e-begging. He's on YouTube. You see the little thing down in the right that says the YouTube thing, right? And you see this person is from Facebook. You see where it says the little F and the blue F down in the bottom right. He Black. How about that? Right. And then I need somebody from Twitter Periscope to comment so that we can see so we're on many different platforms at one time. And listen, the title of this video is about Derrick Jaxn. Some people may not want to hear about affirmations. You know what I mean? But we're still talking about it. I don't care if the numbers go down. They go down, they go down. They go down, they go down, they go down, they go down. It's as simple as that. It's just simple. They go down, they go up, they go down, they go up. There's new broadcast the next day. And Jennifer says, your book is not available in the Netherlands. How is it possible to order your book? Yeah, so it's the inventory on Amazon is having an issue. So you can buy it from my website by going to tanyatko.com and just clicking on the book. Just go to the shop, you can click on the book and get it that way. Amazon is having some issues, right? And so you should be able to buy it in the Netherlands on my website. You should be able to do that. And Jess says, who cares about how many is viewing? But you know what? Listen, young people like Generation Z and the generation right before them, which I believe are Generation Y, I believe. I believe it came Millennials, Generation Y, then Generation Z. I'm not sure, right? But the young people, they feel like views are their worth. They feel like views are their life. Likes and thumbs up, and if you take their phone away from them, it feels like you've chopped off their arm, and it's crazy. So some people really do create their own self-value from how many likes and clicks and stuff they get. You know what I mean? It's really sad. Leslie says the numbers went down when her FB page froze. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. And Rochelle says, I don't place my worth on Facebook, friends, etc. I request that my friends and family inbox me. The numbers game on Facebook or any platform can give some a false sense of false friends. Let me give you a standing ovation on that one, my dear. Exactly. And there's a lot of people who are thinking that they're worth, but you know what? I had to go through my journey. I had to realize that not having money doesn't mean that I'm a bad person or worthless or I can't take care of myself, right? Some people are going to have to realize that not getting likes and not having views and all of that does not determine what your worth is. It doesn't. And so other people are going to have to learn that lesson in their own life. So it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And Jess says, some people probably signed off because of busy with what they're doing. Right now, I'm in microbiology class. What are you doing in class so late? Well, you know what? On the West Coast, it's only 5:30. So, okay. All right. Got you. And then Fit Boss is saying, talking about God, but going to say you don't care if he's pink, gives a whole description in the Bible. F out of here, Pops, go read. Well, why are you all fighting in the comments? Angie, oh, hold on. Angie is saying, we Gen Xers run things and are analog babies who are truly today's leaders. It's time to teach the youth them. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. Oh, goodness. Crystal says, Keisha, love it. Just a minute of your time to read through this, to be honest. Helping me trade, bring me money. So this person is scamming. You all getting your accounts compromised. And they're using your accounts to scam people. And you've already identified yourself on Facebook. You're going to be the one getting in trouble. All right. So we have finished. I wasn't planning on being on here for 2 hours. So let's jump off of here because this video was only supposed to be about Derrick Jaxn and the reaction that this dude did to him. So I will see you all in the next video. Tanya TKO, and I'm out. Go out there and love one another. But most importantly, what? Love yourself. And part of loving yourself is what? Part of loving yourself is, even if you have mental unwellness, in those moments of clarity, you are going to have to do what it is that you need to do to get yourself safe. You're going to have to put yourself first, because if you don't do it, and if you keep waiting for other people to take care of you, you may never get taken care of, or they may even abuse you. So you have to put yourself first and love yourself above all else. And on that note, I will see you in the next video. Tanya DKO, and I'm out. Peace. And if you send Cash App text while I'm not on, I'll just respond to you with an emoji after we're off. All right, I'll see you later.